Good afternoon, everyone. This is Carrie Plath again. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to join our informational Teach in Thailand webinar. I'm recording the webinar today, so if something happens and you have to leave early, hopefully I can send it out. But I really do appreciate you taking the time to join us, and I want this to be as interactive as possible on a webinar. So there's a questions bar where you can write any of your questions you have. I encourage you to write questions throughout our webinar, and also to just write any questions you might have. If it relates to a future slide, I might hold it and answer it later, but I do promise I'll answer all of your questions. So please feel free to write questions whenever you have them, and I'm excited to help us get started and to teach you more about what we're going to do when you go on the Teach in Thailand program. So one of the first things to find out is what is CIE. The Teach in Thailand program that we're talking about today is a CIE program, and it's part of our Teach Abroad program. So at CIE, we've been around for 70 years, and we're one of the world leaders in international education and exchange. So we're a nonprofit that helps people both come to study and work in the United States, as well as helps people from the United States to study and teach abroad. So some of our programs are the study abroad programs or our teach abroad programs. We have high school programs where students go abroad. We also have high school programs where students come to America to go to school, and also where students come to work at seasonal jobs. So today we'll focus on Teach Abroad and specifically our Teach in Thailand program. And I want to introduce you a little bit to our team. So Matt's our Vice President, and Steven's our Fearless Manager. Luke is our Senior Coordinator, and he also helps with our China, Morocco, and South Korea programs. I'm Carrie, and I work with Teach in Thailand, Vietnam, and Czech Republic programs. Maxine works on our Teach in Spain programs, as well as our Teach in Spain volunteer programs. And then Sagan has a lot of our smaller programs, which are Teach in Peru, Senegal, Spain Professional, Portugal, as well as our Chile programs, and helps with South Korea as well. So all of us have experience teaching abroad and love teaching and living abroad in different cultures. On our team, we speak quite a few languages, and we work very closely with our Teaching English as a Foreign Language department, which I'll talk about a little bit later. And that's TEFL if you've heard of that. So we're a smaller team. We sit right where the blue arrow is on our building in downtown Portland, Maine. So that's a little bit about us, but you can learn more on our website if you're interested. But now we'll go to the exciting part and talk about why you want to teach abroad. So this is a picture from our fall orientation last year, and everyone's pointing to where they're going to be moving to in Thailand. And so what I'd like to know is, why do you want to teach abroad? There's some ideas on the screen. Maybe you can relate to some of them, maybe not, but I'd like to know, why are you thinking of teaching abroad? So if you wouldn't mind sharing, please share in the questions box reasons you are hoping to teach abroad. I'll give you a second or so to write some of your answers. All right, great. So we have some great answers here. So there's some people looking for teaching experience. There also are people looking to travel. I know Thailand's a great place to travel, and travel is certainly something you'll have time to do on the Teach in Thailand program, but you also want to make sure that teaching is your first priority. You are going to be hired as a teacher. Other people want to work with children or just have the opportunity to teach abroad. So these are all great reasons. I love all the answers I'm getting here. So other people just want to learn more about Thai culture and really immerse themselves in a new culture. Also helping to make a difference in other people's lives. So a lot of people just loving the Thai culture. Some people have even traveled there and just fell in love with it and really would like to immerse themselves a little more into a teaching career. So a lot of people just looking to get experience and helping others, which are all really good reasons. And a love of the Thai culture is another great way to teach abroad. So I myself have taught abroad, and I'll tell you about that in a minute, but I'm glad to hear that many of you are excited about the experience of teaching, but also the experience of traveling and living somewhere else. So it's important to remember, when teaching abroad, it is a job, it is a career, but you still have a lot of time for fun things as well. So it's not like study abroad in that you're working, you're expected to go to work, but there are many Thai holidays and many opportunities to travel around Thailand. So this slide says that teaching abroad will change your life, and you can see the world as no tourist can. And I think that's especially true. I myself have taught abroad in Costa Rica and in Macedonia. I did my student teaching for Spanish education in Costa Rica and actually taught Spanish to native Spanish speakers. So that was a unique experience, and undoubtedly it was probably funny then to have a gringa teaching them Spanish with an accent. But it was an amazing experience and really helped me realize that I love teaching and love teaching abroad. And so I later joined the Peace Corps and taught for nearly 3 years in the Republic of Macedonia. And there I taught English to first through 8th graders, as well as taught English and adult courses in my community. So in that experience, I really, in both places, in Costa Rica, I was there for only 4 months, and in Macedonia, I was there for nearly 3 years, and I really was able to form strong connections with my students, as well as with my my co-teachers that I had and my community members. So I'm still in close contact with my host family and my friends, and actually I've been able to see my friends more than one would think. I've made it an effort to go back and visit Macedonia whenever possible, and it truly feels like a second home to me. So hopefully you would, if you chose to go and teach in Thailand and live in Thailand, you could have a similar type of experience and really feel like you're a part of the culture. Of course, there's always ups and downs, but I think overall living abroad is something you can experience in your home country, and it's something you just need to take a leap of faith and do. And I think everyone that I work with on my team can attest that teaching abroad did change their life. So hopefully you're excited for that experience, and I can help you get to Thailand. So for our programs, the Teach in Thailand highlights, we'll go into more detail in a moment. But in the Teach in Thailand program, it's one of our most diverse programs in that it has different lengths of time you can go abroad, multiple different departure dates, and 2 different programs. In addition, the Teach in Thailand program is our second largest program. Spain is our largest with almost 600 teachers every year, and then Thailand, we typically have about 350 or 400 going per year. So it's quite exciting. So for Thailand, when you sign up for the program, you have options when you start your application. And we ask that you just start one application, and if you ever want to transfer, we can help you transfer your application. It's better to just complete one application and have it transferred than just put the same information in multiple times. And that goes to transferring it to other programs too. It's very simple for us to transfer if you're interested. So start an application for what you think interests you the most. Our spring departure is typically in early May. There is a smaller June departure. It is much shorter than the May departure, and it's smaller. It's really only for those who are graduating in May or maybe finishing up teaching a school year in May. So most people in the spring are going to be departing in May. And then we have our fall professional departure in late July, and our fall standard or regular program departure in October, in late October. So as you can see, there's a standard and professional program, and that means that there's 2 different programs that we'll talk about in a moment. You might be teaching students ranging from kindergarten to university. I will say that university placements are rare and secondary or primary placements are more common. And then you can pick one semester, which is 5 months, or a 2-semester, 10-month commitment. All right. So I see great questions coming in already. Keep them coming. So they do relate to future slides, so I promise I'll answer them in a couple of minutes. So eligibility. First, we need to find out, are you eligible for the program? So on our standard program, which is the majority of our applicants qualify for and apply for, you do need to be a native English speaker, a citizen of an English-speaking country, so United States, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, England, Ireland, or South Africa, and you must have a bachelor's degree in any field. You don't need any formal teaching experience, and you don't need to know any Thai language. So that's something that's great. In Thailand, they actually want you to be fully immersed, and they don't necessarily want you to know any Thai. So it's great that they're able to hire people of all different backgrounds as long as you have those 3 standard requirements. In the standard program, you're guaranteed a salary of 25,000 Thai baht per month, and you also get accommodation. And the difference is in professional, you are guaranteed a minimum salary of 30,000 Thai baht per month as well as accommodation. But because of the higher salary, you do have to have 2 additional requirements, and you also must commit to 2 semesters. So for the standard, you can do either 1 or 2 semesters, and professional, you do need to commit to 2. If you have professional requirements and you only want to go for 1 semester, then you would apply for the standard program. So in the professional, you do need to be a native English speaker and a citizen of an English-speaking country, but rather than having a bachelor's degree in any field, you must have a degree in education, hard science, or math, plus 1 year of teaching experience. If you have your bachelor's degree in English, that's wonderful. Unfortunately, the schools will not consider that a professional requirement qualification, so you'd want to apply for the standard program. Additionally, in Thailand, the retirement age is 55, so anyone who's over 55, we certainly would encourage you to apply. But just as an added step in the process, you would need to do a Skype interview with our colleagues in Thailand. And that's not because they don't think you'd be a good teacher. We certainly have had teachers who are wonderful over the age of 55. It's just because there's a different level of interview that they need to do because the Thai schools are hesitant to hire people who are past the retirement age. But if they know that you've been interviewed by our partners in Thailand, then they feel comfortable hiring people of any age. So just so that you're aware, nothing to be worried about, just something that we have to do to help the Thai hiring schools feel comfortable. All right, so I have a couple questions I'm going to answer. So perfect. So one question is if you're going to go abroad, and we'll talk about the program duration in a moment, and you have to leave early. Can you leave early? Unfortunately, you can't leave early. You do need to commit to the full program. If something comes up and you have to break your contract, people do that. But if you knew in advance that you'd have to leave early, it'd really be a misservice to your school to commit to something and then know that you'd be leaving your students without a teacher partway through. So if you can't commit to the program, you might want to look at a different program that fits better with your timeline. Also, a good question. So if you're a native speaker and you have 2 bachelor's degree and a master's degree, can you apply? As long as you can apply, certainly. You would want to apply for the standard program unless your degrees were in education, hard science, or math, and you had a year of teaching experience. The most important for the professional program is that you have the degree in education, hard science, or math. The year of teaching experience can be a little flexible. As long as you've had leadership or mentoring at some point, schools are often able to accommodate that, but you must have the bachelor's degree in those areas. All right, more great questions, but they relate to future slides, so I'll answer them in a moment. So one more quick question that came in. So is nursing considered a hard science? Unfortunately, the Thai schools don't consider it a hard science. What they consider is biology, chemistry, physics, those types of sciences they're going to count it, because people who are in that program are often teaching at English schools that are teaching those subjects in English. If you have a master's in linguistics, unfortunately, that still doesn't meet the requirement of education, hard science, or math. All right, so let's talk more about the job. So you'd be working as the lead English teacher in your own classroom in a public or private school in Thailand. So I'd say 99% of our teachers are in the classroom by themselves. There are a couple teachers who do have co-teachers in the classroom with them. So you should be prepared to be planning your lessons, grading your papers, and really taking control of your class. Some people have strict curriculums that they need to follow for their school, and others have more leeway in what they're asked to teach. Every school is different, same as in America or in Australia. There's different requirements for different schools. So I can't tell you exactly what you'll be doing, but you will be teaching English in your classroom. Sometimes there's the opportunity to teach other subjects. And sometimes when you're asked to teach other subjects, schools are able to pay you a little bit more. So if you have any other subjects you feel comfortable teaching, you should write those on the placement preferences section of your application. And the placement preferences section of your application is something we'll talk about a lot in the coming slides. It's a very important section. It's where you write all of your preferences, and it's what we use when we place you at a Thai school. It's important to remember that the Thai schools do make the final hiring decision, and they have preferences of their own. So when they're hiring you, We try to match you as best we can, but the Thai schools make the final decision because they're the ones hiring you, that you sign a contract with, and that you are actually teaching with. So when you're teaching, you're going to be teaching 20 to 25 classroom hours per week, but you should expect to be at school for 40 hours a week. There might be assemblies you're going to go to, or it gives you time for prep time, planning lessons, grading papers. So expect to be working typically Monday through Friday, 8 to 4, or something like that. Every school is a little different, but in general, that's what you'll be teaching. A lot of people wonder about holidays, and you get most of the Thai Buddhist holidays off as well as national holidays. There are a few Christian schools where you might have Christian holidays off, but in general, you can expect to have Thai holidays off and Buddhist holidays off, and not other religious holidays off. If you ever get sick or something, most schools have a policy for the time of school you can miss, and everyone has a Thai counterpart who is there to help them adjust to your new school, introduce you to your new school, and who does speak English. So although you likely will not have an English teacher or another co-teacher in your classroom, you will have someone at your school who's there to help you. And you also will have 24/7 support while you're in Thailand. All right. So what can you expect? So this is our spring group after we went on a fun river cruise at orientation, and everyone, we'd been dancing and singing karaoke and had a great feast on the river in Bangkok. And this is a mall in Thailand, and in Bangkok, malls are like the hip, popular place to hang out, and they're also air conditioned. So something to learn when you're in Thailand. But these are our teachers getting ready, and they're now teaching in Thailand and having a great time. And I love seeing their updates on Facebook pages and things like that. So what you want to expect is, as we talked about, you could be on the standard or professional program. Again, if you're in the professional program, you do have to commit to 2 semesters. Standard program, you have the option of 1 or 2 semesters. The spring departure for the standard program is in early May or early June if you graduate in May. Also in mid to late October. The professional departures are in early May or early June, and also late July. There is no October professional departure. Additionally, we talked about salary a little, but to remind you, in the standard program, you earn 25,000 Thai baht per month minimum, and in the professional, you earn 30,000 Thai baht per month minimum. You're also going to have accommodation included, so that means that your school is going to provide you with accommodation, and it's typically quite close to your school within biking or walking distance. It's a little different for every school, but sometimes you might be in a shared housing if you're teaching and living with other CIE teachers, or it might be a studio apartment or a 1-bedroom apartment. But at a minimum, you'll have your own house your own room, not your own house. You'll have your own bedroom, even if you're in shared housing, and you're going to have the basic accommodations. Something to note is that in Thailand, Thai kitchens are not the same as American or Canadian kitchens. Thai kitchens are typically a hot pot or a hot plate, a pot, and maybe a fridge. So it might just be those items in a room, and that's considered a Thai kitchen. And the reason is that in Thai culture, most people are going out to eat with their family and friends. It's actually cheaper to go out to eat most of the time, and it's a very social thing to do. So don't expect a big kitchen with lots of appliances. That's just not how people live in Thailand, so it'd be unrealistic to expect that. Other than that, bedroom is pretty similar to what you might be used to in the UK or America. All right, so one more thing to mention. Accommodation, you don't pay rent, but you do pay utilities, which, depending on your usage, is about $15 to $20 per month. And if you're wondering, about 25,000 Thai baht, as of yesterday, I believe was $751 US. Additionally, if you do go abroad, departing in either May, June, or July for the 2-semester program, you are going to be earning a completion bonus as long as you complete your contract. So that's for the 2-semester program, not the 1 semester. So if you complete 2 consecutive semesters at the same school starting in May, June, or July, you are eligible for the completion bonus, which is 20,000 Thai baht, and that's to offset the cost of your return flight. So flights are not included in the program fee, It's not part of the program, but if you complete 2 semesters, you are eligible for the completion bonus. All right. All right, so I saw a question about are you housed with other teachers, and as I mentioned, it kind of depends on your school. On the placement preferences section of your application, you will write if you prefer primary or secondary, what regions you prefer, which we'll talk about in a moment, as well as if you have any other subjects you can teach. If you write down that you can teach computers, but you really can't, don't write it down. Just write down things that you'd be actually willing to teach. People sometimes teach math or computers or physical education or health or science. Those are all things that you could write down. And in terms of accommodation, if you write that you want to be placed with another CIE teacher or if you apply with someone else specifically, it's likely that you might be placed in accommodation with them. If you're placed at a school where other teachers aren't hired, then you'd be in your own accommodation most likely. So typically, it just depends. You might be in shared housing, but you'll for sure have your own room, or you might be in an apartment or in a studio apartment. If you want to be placed with another CIE teacher, make sure to write that on your application. And if you're applying with someone, whether it be a spouse, friend, or partner, make sure that you both write each other's names on your application and apply at the same time. If you apply at different times, it can be very hard for us to place you together. So be sure that you apply at the same time and write each other's names. All right, so let's talk about our regions in Thailand. So in Thailand, sometimes it's split into 6 regions, but for our purposes, we have 5 regions. And on your application, you get to write the top 3 regions that you would prefer to be placed in. Again, we do our best to accommodate your placement preferences, but the Thai schools make the final decision. So when you fill out the placement preferences section, you're going to want to note, what's the most important to you, and we'll try to match you to as many of your placement preferences as possible. So I thought it'd be fun to put up the placement map for our spring 2017 students. So all the little houses represent the different regions and where students in May or June of 2017 were placed. So this upper photo with a river and mountains is northern Thailand, and that's represented by the blue houses. So northern Thailand is the region that borders Myanmar and Laos, and it's most well known for its mountain ranges and breathtaking nature. So it's definitely a tropical area that has cooler winters than other regions. And you also find beautiful culture of hill tribes like the Karen tribe, which is known as the Long Neck tribe, and there's a lot of coffee that's also in this area. Some cities you might have heard of include Chiang Mai, Chiang Rai, and Sukhotani, and the northern region is really rich in history and outdoor recreation. So if you like hiking and things like that, the northern region may be the best region for you. I do want to say that we have needs all throughout Thailand, and so most placements are not in very large cities. They're in smaller cities and sometimes in rural locations, and there are some placements in big cities, but it's important to note that there are needs throughout all of Thailand, so we can't place everyone in just the big cities. They're normally the areas with the least amount of need, but so make sure to write your placement preferences on your section of your application, and we'll do our best to place you according to your preferences. But if you like hiking, the northern region might want to be your first region. So next we'll hop over to the greenhouses and the marshy looking palm trees that we can see in the upper right-hand corner of our screen, and that's northeastern Thailand. So it's also known as Isan, and it is the largest region in Thailand. It's a plains and basin region with heavy rainfall from May to October, and it used to be the poorest region, but now it's considered the nation's fastest growing economy. So it's very well known for its unique food, which has strong flavors, and it also has a very rich culture in Isan. It's also the bridge between Thailand and the neighbors to the east. So there's 4 big cities called the Big Four of Isan, and they are Korat, Ubon Ratchathani, Udon Thani, and Khon Kaen. And so like other regions in Thailand, you're going to get villages, temples, and markets and truly be able to experience the local culture. I mentioned that it rains, but truly in Thailand, the rainy season is May to October, so it rains all over Thailand in May to October. So don't let that scare you. It's a lovely region. So Central Thailand is the orange area and this large city with a temple, the Grand Palace, which you can see, which, as many of you likely recognize, is Bangkok. Oops. Yep, is Bangkok. So that's in Central Thailand. So the Western region is often combined with the Central region, so we don't have a Western region in our options. If you're thinking West, it's considered Central in our application. So Central Thailand is the home to the Thai capital, Bangkok, which is known for its numerous canals. It's sometimes called the Venice of the East. There's also a lot of rice farming and historical sites in Central Thailand, and as a whole, Central Thailand is a plain with a small seacoast. This region is also home to incredible lush green landscape and farmland. So popular cities here include Bangkok, as I mentioned, Kanchanaburi, and Ayutthaya. Placements in and around Bangkok are very competitive due to the location, so be sure to submit a strong application and apply early. Eastern Thailand is the fourth region we'll discuss, and that's the yellow houses here. It's also represented by the train and the mountains. Eastern Thailand borders Central Thailand and the Gulf of Thailand. It's known for its short mountain ranges, basins, and beautiful coastline. It's also most well known for its countless islands and flawless coastline. So notable cities include Chonburi, specifically Pattaya, Konchan, and Koh Samet. And most major cities located in this region are along the coastline. There's also a nice large national park that lies in the north, which is Khai Yai National Park. And in this region, you can find yourself maybe on the beach or exploring inland waterfalls. I've been fortunate to travel in a few of the regions in Thailand, and truly everywhere I've gone is beautiful. So I think no matter where you end up, you can be happy and find a lot of great local treasures. So our final region we'll talk about is our most competitive region, and that's Southern Thailand, as you see represented by the purple houses. This is the quintessential beach and resort region, and it is our most competitive placement region because a lot of people want to be in the beaches and because that's really not where the largest need for our schools are. So if you want to go there, definitely put it as your first choice, but just be prepared to submit a very strong application. And note that there are several major cities such as Phuket, Krabi, Hua Hin, Hat Yai, and this is also, like I said, a very big beach region. So if you love beaches, certainly you can apply for this region. Again, on your application, you can write your top 3 regional preferences, and then we try to place you accordingly, including all your other regional preferences, or excuse me, placement preferences. All right. Perfect. So I'm going to answer a couple questions and then we'll continue on. So when I mentioned a host family before, it had nothing to do with Thailand. It was where I lived, and I was close with my host family. In Thailand, you don't live with a host family. So I just wanted to clarify that, and I'm sorry if I confused you. But for accommodation, as I mentioned, you're living in either a studio apartment, 1-bedroom apartment, or perhaps shared housing. Also, someone asked, what's better, the 5 or the 10-month program, and what would you want to do for the first time? So it's really up to you and what you're prepared for. I personally think that the longer you live in an area, the more incorporated you can be into the community. But if you're really nervous about living along or abroad for about a year or 10 or 11 months, you might want to go for the shorter program. You can always extend your program. If you choose to extend through CIE, there is the option to extend at the same or a different school for $550. And so that's an option. If you're just not sure what you want, you can always go and make a decision later. If you really think you want to go and experience culture and are ready to leap in, or maybe you're interested in getting that bonus in the spring, then maybe you'd want to go for 2 semesters. So I don't think one is better or worse than the other. I think it really depends on what you're looking for and what you feel comfortable with. We have participants who are definitely happy on both programs. And then someone asked about the rate of pay of the schools. So schools, as I mentioned, they pay the minimum of 25,000 Thai baht for the standard program or 30,000 Thai baht for the professional program. On the standard program and the professional program, it depends. If you're teaching a lot of other subjects, sometimes schools are able to pay more. Typically on the standard program, if they're able to pay more, it might range between 25 and 28,000 Thai baht. It just really depends on what you're teaching and what your school is able to offer. You have to remember as well, they're providing accommodations. So when looking at your overall compensation package, accommodations included. All right, so why would you want to go abroad with CIE? You certainly can go with other organizations or go on your own, or maybe go with a recruiter. So going on your own, if you can do that, that's amazing, great. If you want to go with a recruiter, they're probably not going to stick around afterwards. CIE is a placement organization, and so we're going to be helping you both before and after. We're going to help you with your placement, finding housing that comes with your placement. We're also going to help you obtain your work visa. We do cover the cost of processing and returning your visa to you if you're an American citizen. If you're a citizen of a different country, we'll certainly help you, but you'd receive a program discount because you wouldn't be eligible for the American visa services that we use. You're also going to have orientation, which ranges from 3 to 6 days, depending on how many people are attending. And it's a wonderful orientation in either Chiang Mai or Bangkok, where you get to meet our partner organization, OAG, in Thailand, and where you work very closely on learning some things about teaching English abroad, about Thailand, Thai culture, about expectations, about visas and things like that, and work permits and what you need to do while you're in Thailand. Additionally, you'll receive INEX International Insurance, which is a supplementary insurance. And if you are not American, unfortunately, you can't be provided this insurance through CIE. And as a result, as I mentioned, you do receive a program discount since we can't offer that insurance to you. So you'd want to contact me, but otherwise you get the insurance. We also offer 24/7 support, and sometimes there are other competitions or different gatherings that are offered while in Thailand. And when you return, you get to be a big part of our alumni network. If you happen to be an alumni, you do receive a 5% program discount when you are applying for the Teach in Thailand program as well. So a little bit about the pictures. There's a light ceremony where people light lanterns. I would love to go to that, but I haven't been able to. And then this other photo is at the Grand Palace visit that people took last spring. A great question about placement preferences is, do you name cities? If you want to, there's a spot where you can write in cities if that's something that's important to you. In general, you're going to rank it by regions, but if you really want to be in a city, certainly write that. Another great question about salary in Thailand. How does the Thai salary compare to a U.S. salary? They're very hard to compare because Thailand's so much cheaper than the United States. So in Thailand, a meal may be from $1 to $5. I think that's really hard to find in the United States unless you're maybe eating fast food, and even then, that's pretty low these days. So how does the salary compare in Thailand is a better or an easier question to answer. And when you earn $750 in Thailand and already have accommodation included, that money's going to go a long way. I've talked to a lot of our program participants, and they've told me that they live very comfortably. Some people are able to save money. Some people pay back some loans with their money. It all depends on how you budget, but pretty much your expenses are going to be any travel you want to do, clothing if you want to buy clothing, or food. And there really are very few other costs that you're going to have. So the salary can really go a long way in Thailand, and the majority of people I've spoken to have lived very comfortably and easily on their salary. All right, so I'm going to give you a moment to read Jen's quote. She actually studied abroad in Prague through CIE, and then she went on to teach in Thailand. So I'll let you take a moment to read what she has to say. All right, so hopefully you had a moment to read the quote. So Jen mentioned that she really enjoyed the program, and she mentioned the perma smile. So I would like to say in Thailand, people are frequently smiling. I find myself smiling a little more. It's something Thais are known for. Also to mention, recently in Thailand for the past year, they've been having a year of mourning that is expected to end in mid to late October. And that's because their king, who was like a grandfather figure to all of Thailand, he had reigned for 70 years. He passed away at last October 13th, and it really affected Thailand and the Thai people very strongly. And it's something to be aware when you're thinking of going to Thailand, is that they experienced this great loss within the past year and have actually been wearing black and white and mourning the king for the past year. There's going to be a very large funeral celebration this October, and the prior Thai king, Bhumibol's son, is now the reigning king, and it's expected that things will go back to a little more jovial in Thailand moving forward, but certainly something to be aware of when going to Thailand. And a huge part of their history is that their king of 70 years did just pass away last October. So people are still smiling, but it's something to keep in mind when going to Thailand. All right, so the TOEFL certification course, that's something for Thailand that is definitely recommended but is not required. In some of our programs, it's required. We offer a 150-hour TOEFL certification course, and it's an 11-week online course that's offered through our CIE team. It is accredited and recognized worldwide and valid for life, so it's a great course where you have 130 hours online, and then you do a 20-hour practicum, and our TOEFL team helps walk you through that. I think it's a pretty cool course in that you get to work at your own pace, more or less. You got to keep up with the class. But if you want to do all of your work at 3 a.m. in the morning, you can do that as long as you're meeting with your instructor once a week. So I've heard great things about the course, and you can use it later when you're teaching abroad. If you choose to teach in other countries, it's required in many other countries. It also does give your application a boost, as some schools are only looking for people who are TOEFL certified. So again, it's something to think about adding on if you're interested. Not something you have to, but certainly something I would recommend, especially if you've not taught before, as you will be the lead teacher in Thailand. And additionally, we like to be pretty connected. If you're interested in following CIE Teach Abroad, we have Instagram, Facebook. We also have Twitter and Snapchat and many of the other social media sites. I'll admit that I'm not really too into social media myself, but I have checked out some of the great things that people post, and it's really fun to watch on all the different things. If you're interested in watching, sometimes they have takeovers for Thailand or some of the other countries where you get to follow a participant for a day and really see what life is like teaching abroad. So I'd encourage you to add us on Instagram or Snapchat or Twitter and to follow us. So I want you to know that we are reviewing applications now. The September 1st deadline is our final deadline for the October standard departure, which is going to be late October. We can't extend it anymore if there are other program openings, because you need to get your visa. We want you to have time to get your visa. So if you're interested in going abroad soon in October, make sure to apply by September 1st, preferably before, as we do accept applications on a rolling basis and have started to place people. If you're thinking ahead, you can apply for the professional and standard departures in spring of 2018. That's a January 1st deadline. And our fall 2018 application will start opening soon. So if you're interested in that, you could start a spring 2018 application. And we can always transfer it over at a later date. So at this time, I'm going to answer some more questions. I'll leave that up for a moment, and you can check out the cool photo there. Great question. If you're applying for the program that leaves in late October, is there enough time to complete your TOEFL certification? It's 11 weeks, so you likely, depends how quickly you start. We have start dates every 2 weeks. I would encourage you to still do it. You can complete your TOEFL certification well in Thailand. It makes for maybe a little stressful first week, but certainly people have completed it before in their first weeks in Thailand. And you can actually you have to do 20 practicum hours, and 10 of your hours can be completed at your Thai school. So I definitely encourage you to get that and write that on your application if you're planning to take the TOEFL certification. A great question, do teachers learn Thai? Yeah, definitely. Some teachers learn more than others. It kind of depends on how much commitment you have to learning the language. There's a few Thai language courses that we have at orientation, but some people continue to maybe tutor or do exchanges later on, and I would encourage you to do that. Personally, when I've lived abroad, I've made an effort to learn the languages, and it really helped me to incorporate myself into the community, and now I have those skills that I can list on my resume as well. So Thai is not that common and would be something great to pick up. Um, so this is my contact information. I'm going to keep answering questions, but if you want to contact me at any time, I'm typically available 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, Eastern Time, and you can call me directly at the number on the screen or email me. So if you think of something later, you can also write to me. But in the meantime, I'll keep answering your questions. So the September 1st deadline on the previous screen is for the October 2017 deadline. The fall 2018 application is just starting to be opened. It's not being advertised on our website yet, but you can open an application if you go to open one, and that deadline's going to be next June. So the September 1st deadline that is listed is for the fall 2017 program. The January 1st deadline is for the spring 2018 program, and the fall 2018 program deadline is June 1st, 2018. And some people have asked, can you view this webinar later? I am recording it, so assuming technology is on my side, I'll send it out to everyone afterwards. Another great question, if you're maybe not the best at spelling or things like that, can you still be hired? Yes, you can. It's something you might want to try brush up with as you'd be an English teacher. I myself am not the best speller. I'm better at math, but it's something that certainly do want to prepare before your lessons so that you'd be able to spell. And when you submit your application, be sure to have it proofread and to submit a quality application. You are hired in Thailand based on your application, so it's very important for you to submit a quality application with 2 strong letters of recommendation, your personal statement where you say why you want to teach in Thailand. Some photos are included on the application. The reason for that is Thai schools aren't going to interview you, so the way they get to know you is through your photos. They do want a professional photo as one showing what you're like in your free time. So great photos are maybe you mentoring youth or you on a hike with friends. Not great photos are you out drinking with your buddies or in a scantily clad bikini on a beach. That's great that you love to do those things, but probably not the best for a professional application. So just so you know what the photos in your application are for, so the Thai schools can get to know you and get to know your personality since they don't have the opportunity to interview you. So another great question is about the duration of the program. So if you start in May or June of 2018, if you start in June, you're missing the first month of school, but your school's agreed to have you do that. Typically, schools in June are only going to hire 2 semester participants. Sometimes they hire 1, but it's better if you're doing 1 semester to start in May. And then you'd be teaching for the Thai school year. So you'd teach from early May through late March of the following year. So early May 2018 to late March of 2019. And in that time, you typically have about 2 weeks off in October for the mid-semester break. If you're starting in October, whether it be 2017 or 2018, you're starting mid to late October after that break I just talked about. You're starting for the second semester. You then teach until the end of March for the 1 semester program. And for the 2 semester program, you actually have a 4 to 6 week break in April and May. And that break is a time when you're going to have accommodation. You won't be paid for teaching because you won't be teaching at summer break, but you're going to have a lot of time to travel. If you choose to start in the fall and go for 2 semesters, you have that travel break. And then you start teaching again in early May for the start of the new 2018 school year, and you teach through late September of the following year. So in sum, if you start in the fall, you teach mid to late October through late September, through late March for the 1 semester program, or mid to late October through late September of the next year for the 2 semester program. If you start in May or June, you teach until late September for the 1-semester program, or until late March of the following year for the 2-semester program. If you start in July, you're teaching for a year, and you teach from late July until early June of the following year. I know that's a lot of dates, so if you have questions, you can certainly write me about that. Wonderful questions coming. So great questions about taxes. Are you taxed in the Thai government? No, you're not taxed in Thailand. As for American taxes, you need to work probably with your tax advisor to determine what taxes you need to pay. One thing to mention is the insurance you receive doesn't currently follow the Obamacare guidelines, so you'd want to maybe keep a primary insurance. The question about the fees. So for 1-semester programs through CIE, it's $1,800. And for 2 semesters, it's $2,000. And that fee, as I mentioned, goes towards all of your orientation, transportation from the airport to orientation, from orientation to your host school, as well as your accommodation, help with visa, covering the visa fees, insurance, 24/7 support, and you get a Lonely Planet book as well, and a lot of other great services from us. If you want to add TEFL, it is a $1,000 course that's valid for life, as I mentioned, so that's an optional add-on. Great question. What's the success rate of the individuals getting in? This is a competitive program, but we also do have many placements. So as long as you meet the program requirements and submit a quality application, I see no reason why I wouldn't be able to accept you. My job is to help you make your application strong. So if I see something that maybe you could use a little tweaking, like your personal statement has some grammatical errors, I would maybe send it back to you and ask you to fix it. And if you did that, typically we're able to accept most people who apply and to place everyone that we accept. Again, placements can't be guaranteed, but we have a very strong rate of accepting and placing people. Great question. If your personal statement's a little longer than the application states, is that okay? Yeah, it's okay. Try not to make it 4 pages long. We're not going to count the words, so don't worry. If it's a little over, that's all right. Just try to keep it within the range so that it's not dragging on too long. At the same time, if you feel you need to go over by 100 words or so, go ahead. That's perfectly fine. Good question. Question about the percentage of people placed in the city versus country. To be honest, I don't have a percentage. Most people are placed in cities, but it might not be cities that you know of. So even Bangkok and Chiang Mai are hard to be placed in. And the southern cities where people flock to go on vacations, there's very few placements there. But there are many other large cities in Thailand. Thailand is a very densely populated country, and so most people are placed in a city. And if you want to be placed in a city or with other people, make sure to make that known on your application so that we can try to accommodate that. I'd say that many teachers are placed with others, and we have a high success rate of placing partners, spouses, and friends together when they request it. Do I recommend getting the TEFL certificate? Yes, I do. I think that if you've not taught before especially, it's going to be very useful. You're going to be going to the Thai school, and you're going to have to make classes. You're not going to have weeks and months to prepare. You're going to have orientation, and then you're going to start teaching. So I think especially if you're not quite sure or maybe don't know how to teach English to second language learners, the TEFL certificate is going to give you ideas and resources and really help prepare you. It also helps prepare you with things like classroom management. I myself have my degree in Spanish education, and I still think that teaching abroad and getting the certificate, that I could learn a lot from getting the certificate. A question about what is our applicant pool like? So are there more teachers in their 20s and their 30s? Yes. The schools our applicants are often in their 20s or 30s, but we do have applicants of all ages. We've had applicants in their 70s. And so I think that anyone of any age and any background should certainly apply if they're interested in the program. And we are successful in placing people of all ages, races, and backgrounds. So you should apply and not worry about the age of other people applying. A lot of people do apply in their 20s and 30s simply because they don't have other commitments at the time of their life, and it's time when they can go, but we do have a handful of people that also have retired or maybe are taking a career change and choose to go abroad. And we have people of all age ranges, and schools have different preferences, so we are able to place people of all ages and backgrounds, and you should apply no matter what yours is. Good question about safety. So are there any issues with safety? As with any country in the world, things can come up. There could be natural disasters. There could be political problems. I think especially these days, that's on people's mind. In Thailand in general, it's a very safe country. The Thai people are very kind and giving, and it's a very safe country overall. I've traveled by myself as a blonde American woman. I've felt very safe there. So in Thailand, we're going to place people only in locations that we deem are safe and that we have good relationships with the schools. That being said, you want to use common sense. You don't want to be walking around late at night in lone areas or flaunting around money or walking around drunk. So use your common sense the same as you might in anywhere in the world. And it's generally very safe. Truly, the biggest concern in Thailand would be motorbikes. And we encourage people not to ride motorbikes. It's very dangerous. If you choose to, we want you to use a helmet. It's better to get a ride on all the cheap transportation. There's lots of taxis or tuk-tuks, which is a three-wheeled type of taxi, or buses or trains, really cheap airfare that's within the country, bicycles, walking, carpools with your colleagues. So there's things like that. And in general, Thailand is very safe. But as with anywhere in the world, you want to be aware of your surroundings. If you ever do have an emergency, that's what our 24/7 emergency phone line's for. All right, so we're getting close to our time, and there's still some more questions I'm going to answer. If you have any other, make sure to get them in, and we'll get them answered. All right, a few in. So again, a question about salary. Is 25,000 Thai baht enough to live on? As I mentioned previously, most and the majority of our applicants have said it's definitely sufficient to live on and travel with. It depends on your personal spending habits. If you go on big spending sprees in Bangkok or you buy a lot of clothing, then it might not be enough for you. But if you spend within your means, it should be more than enough. It's quite a bit of money in Thailand. A question, are you refunded if you're not placed? If for some obscure reason you're accepted into the program and we can't place you and you haven't started a TEFL program, yes, we would be able to refund you. If you're placed and you don't like your placement, we are not able to refund you. Or if you're accepted and you pay a commitment deposit and you don't want to go anymore, we can't refund you. A little bit about payments. To apply, there is a $50 application fee for processing, and then assuming when you're accepted, you'll pay $500 of your program fee or $1,000 if you want to start TEFL. And then only when you're placed at a Thai school do you pay the remaining program fee balance, and we can always split that up into payments if you need. So if for some obscure reason we can't place you, we would be able to talk about refunding. If you choose not to go forward with your application, your commitment deposit is non-refundable. Another thing to mention is typically we can only offer one placement per season. So be sure to write all your placement preferences in your application so we can place you accordingly. Has anyone ever been hired without a degree? No, it is a program requirement. You can't get your visa without a degree, so we can't accept you into the program if you don't have a degree. We tried it. So someone asked, when do you hear back after your applications are submitted? If you're applying for the Thailand Fall 2017 program, you'll likely hear back within a day. Unless you apply on Saturday, it might be 2 days. Otherwise, we try to review applications within 2 weeks of submitting. If you apply for the Fall 2018 program, it's extremely far in advance. We're still doing Fall 2017, so it will be a few months. But you can always check in with me if you want to know if something was submitted or if I'm checking. I've started reviewing spring 2018 applications, so hopefully within 2 weeks or less is what we strive to, keeping in mind that fall 2017 applications will take priority over our 2018 applications at this point. All right, so does it help to have a master's degree? Yes, you should definitely list that on your application. Schools like to see any qualifications you have. If you have TOEFL certificates from other companies or anything, write that on there as well. If you have experience mentoring or teaching youth, you're going to want to look at that as well. So a great question. If you choose to teach other subjects or are hired to teach other subjects, will the students know English more? Oftentimes, especially in secondary school, if you're asked to teach other subjects, you're going to be teaching more in an English language program. But sometimes when you're teaching young kids, they're just starting out the English program, so the degree of English varies, but really you can actually teach quite a lot without knowing Thai. I taught Turkish students and didn't know Turkish and was able to do a lot with gestures, and I really was able to make a lot of progress. So it's fun to be creative, and I believe that everyone can teach English as long as you are dedicated and put your heart into it. So what do teachers love most about Thailand compared to other places? Things that I've heard. Obviously, everyone's different. People love the Thai school. I personally love the Thai food. The Thai culture is great, and sometimes Thai communication can be frustrating. It's a little more indirect than most of our applicants are used to, in that you might not say things quite as directly. That can be an adjustment. Thai classrooms are very large typically. You might have up to 50 students in your classroom. That can be a challenge, but something that can also be really fun is that you have a lot of students who instantly love you and want to be friends with you. Another thing that people in Thailand like, I know that there are a lot of opportunities to travel and that they have made a lot of great connections at orientation. In addition, I think what people love the most, what they've told me, is the Thai people. They're just very caring and giving and really open their homes to you and want to share their culture with you. So I think that's something that says a lot about Thailand, is the Thai people and the culture. So some people have been asking about some of our other programs. I'd encourage you to check out our website for other programs if you're interested in different departures, or also to check out our Which Program is Right for You webinar. That's something where we talk about all of our different programs. If you have detailed questions and you're not sure to contact about other programs, you can write to me and I'm happy to direct you to one of my colleagues or to myself if it's one of my other programs. Great question. Can you bring children or spouses with you to Thailand? So typically we're not able to accept people who have dependents. And that is because housing is provided for teachers. So if you have a dependent that you're thinking of bringing, you want to contact me directly. That's typically not something we're able to accommodate, but I'm always happy to check with my colleagues on a case-by-case basis. A great question about loan deferments. Do we do loan deferments? CIE is not a loan provider, so we don't do loan deferments. What we can do is write a letter stating that you are a participant on the program and you can speak to your loan provider about whether or not they allow you to defer it. Many people on our program do defer their loans and are able to with the letter. You'd want to talk to your provider, though. So yes, again, my email is kplath@cai.org, as it states on the screen, as well as my phone number is 207-274-5773. All right, so it looks like our questions have pretty much wrapped up. If you have other questions that you think about, please definitely write me later. I also want to say that I'm going to pick one random person today to have your application fee waived. And I want to thank you again for taking the time out of your day to join our webinar. It's been great talking to you, and I really appreciate all the great questions we had. This has been one of the most active webinars I've been to in a while, so I really appreciate all the questions. So thank you, and I hope you have a really great afternoon.